After the narrator of Thomas Bernhard's novel Extinction leaves home, the first thing he does is go to a bookstore, so he can assemble what he calls a library of evil spirits. These are the books that he wants to take with him on his travels, the ones with ideas that he never wants to be too far from. And of course, it made me think, what would my own library of evil spirits be? I only set out two rules. First, they have to be short. Yes, a book like Infinite Jest has a lot of evil spirits in it, but it's not really the type of thing that you can take with you as you travel across the world. And second, each book had to suggest something that I wasn't entirely comfortable with, either about myself or about society. It had to be an evil spirit. So I went to my bookshelf, and a lot of the books that I pulled first are ones that I've already talked about on this channel. For instance, Damage by Josephine Hart, a book that suggests that we are all puzzles missing one piece, and you better hope you never find that piece. Because if you do, you'll give up everything you have now to get it. And Frankenstein, obviously, some of the biggest, scariest ideas ever are found in this short novel. And The Crying Out Loud 49 by Thomas Pynchon, a book which suggested to me that whatever your favorite boogeyman is, the system, the matrix, the patriarchy, the global elites, they're going to present you a structure. But you can make a conscious choice to think outside of it, to see choices that it's not showing you. I also grabbed Night Train by Martin Amis. I'm probably going to film an entire video about this book. I read it recently and it just floored me. I can't tell you exactly what the evil spirit is found in this novel because it would ruin the end. But once you figure it out, it will absolutely shake the way you think about the world. It's almost like it almost reminded me of like True Detective, the first season of True Detective, in the philosophy and the worldview that it has. And I also grabbed a few books that I haven't talked about before, like this short book by Benjamin Labatut, When We Cease to Understand the World. This book is a series of short stories about real-life mathematicians. It's categorized as fiction, but most of the stories are mostly factual. But they all suggest the same thing, that there is a point that you get to when studying mathematics where you recoil from what you've found. There's a beautiful metaphor that he uses. The mathematics is like a searchlight, and the truth of our existence is like a rocky shore. And as that searchlight, that spotlight, that lighthouse sort of spins around, you start to glimpse the edges of that shore, and it's something that will terrify you. And the book is based on the historical fact that all these mathematicians at some point in their life gave up. They shredded their documents, they moved to the woods, some of them killed themselves. They stopped studying math entirely because they were on the edge of something, and they recoiled because they understood humans are not meant to understand this. It is too scary. Then A Severed Head. This is a book that I've kept with me since I read it in college, so it's been on my bookshelf a long time. The idea in A Severed Head is that our minds and our bodies are somehow separate. And if you only know something with your mind, you only know half of it. Now, Iris Murdoch expresses this mostly through relationships between the characters, physical relationships. But you can almost think of it as, I can tell you 2 times 2 is 4, and you can repeat that back to me. But that's not the same thing as holding 2 apples in one hand and 2 apples in the other hand and actually seeing it in front of you. To understand the concept, you have to know it with your body and your head. And last, I Am Legend. This volume looks a little long, but there's a lot of other novellas and short stories in it. I Am Legend is a vampire story. And it is a story about the last person left. By night, Robert Neville sits in his house, hiding, listening to the vampires crawling around outside, some of them even calling his name. And by day, he goes out and scavenges for whatever food he can find and stakes as many vampires as he can. Now, to explain the evil spirit found in this book, I have to ruin the ending. So if you want to read it for yourself, this is a good time to shut off the video. But if you want to know what it is, in the book's final pages, Neville realizes that in this story, he's actually the bad guy. Because the vampires, they're the ones who are scared of him. Vampire mommies are telling their babies, don't go out during the day. Robert Neville might get you. That is a inversion, that sense of perspective, that sense that your perception of good and evil, what is a good spirit and what is an evil spirit, can really change throughout your life, is something I've never been able to forget. An ending that absolutely shook me. So there you go. There's 7 books that I would take with me, bundle up, read over and over again, as I sort of tried to make sense of the world, the same way the narrator of Extinction does. And if you want to support the channel, check out my new novel, The Nihilistic Hats. The Nihilistic Hats is a book about people who are trying to find connection and meaning in life, and instead just keep getting met with absurd conspiracies, crazy deep fakes, and a narrative that is fed to them that just doesn't seem to match the facts. It's available only in print, it's only on Amazon, and I'm going to tag this video with a little teaser I made for it. Hope you enjoy.